We're now at part 2, chapter 9. And the first part was more about observations, and the second part is more about manifestations. And the title of this chapter is called Haunted Places. So it says, because there is spontaneous manifestation persistently in one local place is the source of the belief in haunted places. And so they again ask their spirit helpers or guides that come to these seances about haunted places. Do spirits attach themselves to people only, or do they also attach themselves to things? That depends on their elevation. Certain spirits may attach themselves to objects, especially spirits who sort of over identify with the physical body, the physical realm, or material objects. So it says, for example, the miser who has hidden their hoards and have not sufficiently dematerialized may still watch over and guard them. So my example, sort of like a pirate with their buried treasure. 2, are there certain places where spirits tend to like? So we're mostly talking about ones who are earthbound. Spirits who are no longer earthbound go find those people who they love because they are attracted rather by people rather than towards material things. Some for a time may retain a preference for a certain place, but those who do so are lower. They're saying inferior advancement. Since the attachment of spirits for a local place is a sign of inferiority, is it also proof they are evil? And they say no, a spirit may be little advanced, but may not be a bad spirit. Is it not so among men? Which they sort of see more as like a lack of education. 4, is there a foundation for the belief that spirits frequent ruins by preference? No, spirits go to places, but certain places strike their imagination, which is natural effect. How does fear turn the shadow of a palm tree or a shadow of a tree into a phantom, or mistake the cry of an animal or the wind for a ghost? Spirits like the presence of people, and they usually seek out inhabited places rather than solitary ones. My guess for that is because um, they're more attracted towards homes and family places where they live, but they can't yet join, say, like family ancestors, the graves, because they're not over their death or identify with death, or where they died, places where they died with a traumatic death. Um, and also because they need energy to not be obliterated in our realm, so they often will take energy from uh, living people, or they become sort of like senile and start losing their energy to manifest. Nevertheless, knowing what we do of the diversity of character among spirits, may we not suppose that there are misanthropes among them? Like, basically, are there not introverted spirits? Spirits may do this, but they generally prefer to be around people. There are many more spirits in cities and inhabited dwellings than in solitary places, they're saying. What is the origin of the belief in haunted places? It has grown out of men's belief in spirit manifestation and the imagination in places they regard as supernatural, and this faith in such fanciful imaginings of poets, as well as nonsensical stories told to you in the nursery. So the spirit's basically saying, like, some people believe in haunted places because it's bullshit, and then some people believe in haunted places because their mind basically is open to having that experience. Do spirits who assemble together have any preference into days and hours of meeting? So previously in this book, they said that they can appear whenever, um, just as likely as a day and a night. And how I said it's more likely because of our makeup to be more aware of them at nighttime and lower spirits at night and all that kind of thing. The origin of the idea that spirits come to prefer at night. So the higher spirits can do what they want, but it says that the impression is on the imagination by darkness and silence, which is superstition, along with that certain days and hours are more propitious than others. The influence of midnight has no existence except in storybooks, is what the spirit is saying. Um, I tend to disagree. I mean, they're biased, I guess, against magic and against, I guess, astrology, in that the planetary hours and such as like that, they don't agree that this is a thing right now. If this is the case, how come many spirits come at midnight or predetermined days such as Fridays? This is that the spirits do it to trick you, and not to play into it, basically, and then they'll stop doing this random stuff, apparently. Um, However, you have to note that spiritism is an evolving science, and they're only as good as their mediums, which is their instruments, to be giving this information. Do spirits go back to the burial place of their body? The body's but a garment. They care no more for their fleshly envelope. They have to suffer and be imprisoned in. The memory of those they love is the only thing they value. So again, um, this book is mainly dealing with contacting, talking with the good spirits. Therefore, the good spirits would not identify with their grave, but lower spirits would. Our prayers offered at their graves attract them more than if you prayed elsewhere. Prayer is an evocation which attracts a spirit. The more fervent and sincere the prayer, the greater effect, and therefore the sight of a venerated tomb may concentrate the thought, or I guess emotion, of the one person who prayers with interest to it, affection, attracted and touched, imagination, but it's actually the thought of a human that acts on the spirit and not upon material objects like a grave, that have less influence on the spirit, they're saying, who's prayed for than on the person who prays, and by the attention they serve to concentrate and intensify. So, relics, Morna Cruzado, are important for contacting spirits, whether or not that's a piece of clothing, like we say, a tag lock, a tag, a signature of the dead, or bones, even with necromancers. We know that has a connection to the spirit through that. However, it's not 100% needed. It's more important the necromancer, or the operator, the one doing the prayer, is more important. The energy and their ability to channel spirits is more important than having a material relic, basically. Is the belief in haunted places not groundless? We've told you that spirits can be attracted by material things, certain places, and take up their abode in them until the cessation of the circumstances that attracted them there. What circumstances may attract a spirit to a place? Their sympathy with people who frequent that place, and in some cases, the desire to communicate with them. However, motives may not be praiseworthy, because inferior spirits may desire to revenge themselves on a person against who they have a grudge, such as like a negative haunting versus like a mother wanting to look after their children. It may also be a punishment inflicted on them if they have committed a serious crime there, so the crime may be played or constantly before their eyes. Are haunted places the former place that the people have lived there who now haunt them? Not in all cases. If a spirit is elevated, they will not hold on to their old house more than their old body. Spirits who haunt certain places, when not attracted to them by emotion or sympathy for certain people, are often only actuated by caprice. So they're saying usually nonsensical or negative reasons for why they want to stay at a place, or foolishness, because basically love is the only principle of attraction of spirits, which is for the good spirits, basically. Can they attach themselves to certain places to act as protectors of particular people or family? Yes, if they are good spirits, but in that case, they never manifest in a disagreeable manner. Is there truth of the legend of the White Lady, as it's true there are 1,000 facts of a similar nature? They're saying it's true. Is it rational to dread places that are haunted? No. Spirits who haunt places and make disturbances do that to amuse themselves at the expense of the credulous and cowardly rather than to do evil. You must not forget that there are spirits everywhere, and that wherever you may be, you have spirits incessantly around you, even in the quietest houses. They only appear to haunt certain habitations because they find in them the conditions necessary. So they find the materials they need or the energy they need to manifest their presence. So it might be spirits around, but they might not always be able to manifest, etc., or wouldn't just do it just for random purposes to um, just basically distract us rather than even be evil, basically. Is there any method of expelling them? Yes, but frequently what you do would actually attract them rather than repel them. The best way to expel bad spirits is to attract good ones by doing all the good you can. The bad ones will then go away. For good and evil are incompatible. Be always good, and you will only have good spirits about you. Many very good people, however, are greatly annoyed by the persecutions of bad spirits. If people are annoyed or really good, the annoyance may be a trial to exercise their patience and to excite them to greater goodness, which actually is often really the case of a lot of mediums and being spirit bothered in the beginning until you can develop your gift, and you have to use your gift for your own spiritual progress. So that's why the spirit harassment is allowed to sort of take place to mediums in the beginning before they're developed. Can evil spirits be driven by haunted places by exorcisms? How often have you seen exorcisms successful? Have you not, on the contrary, often found that they actually increase disturbances? Mischievous spirits are often amused at being mistaken for the devil. Spirits who come without any evil intention may also manifest their presence by making themselves visible or make noises, but the noises are generally not a racket. Those are suffering spirits who you may relieve by praying for them. They are sometimes kindly spirits who desire to show you that they are near you, or they may be frivolous spirits who are only in sport or jest or a joke. Since those who disturb you are almost invariably spirits in search of amusement, the best thing to do is laugh at them, and they will tire of playing pranks if they see that they neither frighten nor vex you. From these explanations, we learn that there are spirits who attach themselves to places and remain there by preference without having any motive for manifesting their presence to us. And any place may be the sojourn of a spirit, either by preference or being assigned to them as a place without ever producing a manifestation of any kind, and this even in the case of those who have led an evil life. Spirits who attach themselves to places or to material things are never of superior advancement. But although they are not of a high degree, they are not necessarily wicked, nor animated by hostile intentions. Such inmates are sometimes even useful, for when they take an interest in the people of the house, they often will render them various services. And that ends this chapter.